Hello. Okay, I decided to try. So this is my first attempt at a video. I thought this would be a good place to start since I'm on vacation this week, and I wanted to show off all the work I put into this journal. I think it's one of my favorites. Beautiful cover, right? I used a piece of antique lace and mother of pearl slide, vintage slide. So the nice thing is you can add things to it and still be able to adjust it and use the same closure. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful cover. I think I was inspired by this cover, The White Company. I'm not sure what it's about. I haven't gotten that far yet. So don't mind me while I'm trying to figure out how to adjust to this green. The inside cover, antique lace, little bit of sewing, avocado dyed index card. I decoupaged a napkin on top of it, and a little bit of stamping. And then we've got this fussy cut lady. Isn't she pretty? I believe I got her on Etsy as a digital. I took some antique lace and a little bit of antique netting, and I layered some vintage embroidered flowers. I cut them apart and layered them in there. A little bit of stamping here, and a piece of antique lace along the edge of the page. Nice crinkly pages. Some of the pages with images are coffee and cinnamon tea dyed together. I like the mixture and I like the smell of the cinnamon tea. This is coffee dyed paper, avocado dyed paper, all nice and crinkly. Love that feel and love that sound. Here is another fussy cut image, and I cut out some flowers from a vintage handkerchief, a little bit of netting behind them, and then I added a little sparkle with some white glitter in the centers and for a little belt for her. I think these pages are from TLC Creates Vintage, and these pages are Medieval Mirage. I love her papers. Some more coffee dyed paper. One of my favorite stamps. I use this little girl a lot. Put a little bit of lace around the bottom of her dress and layered some little tiny flowers that I cut off of a piece of vintage trim. And I love the way these papers are dyed. Couple of little girls, antique photo that I have, and I wanted them to look like they were sitting on something, so this seemed like a good piece. Another piece of antique trim, and another fussy cut little girl with wonderful, it's an antique stamp that I had found. I love that stamp. And more coffee dyed, more avocado dyed paper, a little bit more lace, antique lace trim, some decoupage napkin, just for some interest. More papers, more of that Medieval Mirage, and behind these adorable little girls, got some, another piece. This was from an antique lace cuff. I love these little flowers at the end. And if I'd had both cuffs, I probably would have sewn them to something and worn them because they're so pretty. More flowers that I cut apart and layered on to look like they're in their flower baskets. One on her little belt here. I used some ribbon and some antique trim to make their bows and embellish those, and then a couple of more avocado dyed cards stamped, and also some decoupage on that one. And then more coffee dye. Here's another cutout when I have to fix her little shoe. I fussy cut her and layered her on top of this journal card. And I don't remember who I got these journal cards from. Some more of the flowers that I added to there and to her hair. And here is an antique business card that I just like the way it looked in here. More paper. I used the hidden binding here, so as you can see, the binding isn't tied here. There's a piece of fabric that I sewed the signatures to that's actually underneath the paper here. You'll see more of it as we get through the signature. And coffee dye. Just a little bit of decoupage. And these sweet little siblings here. And this little cutie patootie sitting down with her big bow in her hair. This looks like Ephemera's Garden paper to me. I believe that's who it is. And a little bit more decoupage. And this really pretty, really delicate antique lace on this page. Just love that lace. And let's see, more coffee dye. And here's another image that I cut out. This little girl's from an antique postcard that I purchased. And I layered her on a piece of drapery tape. So it gives her some flexibility and movement, but it keeps her very sturdy so you can tuck things behind her. Little piece of antique lace there. And then this adorable, adorable little invitation that's handwritten in 1903, inviting George to a birthday party with Ethel. I just thought that was the sweetest thing, and even though I scanned a copy, this is actually the original that I'm including in here. You can see the fabric that I used for the hidden binding. I like the way it kind of blends in with everything else. These pretty papers from the fall paper. Oh my gosh, my brain just went dead. I'll think of it. Here's another pretty paper. This little girl is also glued to some drapery tape and just a little bit of stamping on this index card, another avocado dyed index card, and a little bit of punching here, some floral edging. I like the wrinkliness of this page. This little girl just warms my heart. She's actually a photo that I own, and she's in a oval frame in the photo, but I just loved cutting her out and adding her like she's kind of looking at the photo here. And the little face on this little girl, I just adore her. And this is the actual title page from this actual book. I like to try to leave the title page or remnants of some of the pages in all the books that I create. Some more great coffee dyed papers. This is actually a paper that was, oh yeah, this is one of the coffee and tea dyed papers. This this suave looking gentleman is actually my great-grandfather, who owned a greenhouse that he built in his backyard and sold flowers from the greenhouse. So I've always loved this photo of him, and it's the first time I've actually embellished it. I did some decoupage here and layered quite a few little embroidered flowers. And then I think this is a home and garden show somewhere. this old photograph. I thought it looked lovely in here with him. These are great papers as well, and I'm sorry I don't remember whose they are, but I will look those up. Lots of more dyed papers. This sweet lady looks very ethnic to me, kind of reminds me of what my ancestors would have dressed like. And I have this antique crocheted lace here, some little bit of decoupage napkin there, and then some more of the same decoupage napkin on the journal card. Slides right in there. Added a little flower embellishment, a little tie to her photo there. More coffee dyed paper. This little guy, isn't he sweet? Added some flowers, layered them on top of the flowers he was holding, added some more to this beautiful piece of lace here, and another antique piece of ephemera. Coughs, cold, sore throat. That's what this balsam apparently is for. I just thought the colors looked lovely in there. And, you know, we have some sewing on the page as well, if you like to add sewing in my journals. I like how all these colors blend together. More dyed papers, aged and crinkly and fun. This one kind of tattered and torn. I did a little punching on the edge over here and added another piece of antique, little antique piece of lace there. And then we have our two little sassy girls here, where I also layered more of the flowers. I layered some lace on their dresses, and this beautiful piece of, looks like Irish lace, and this little saying here, I hope life gives you wings and you have the courage to use them. Beautiful vintage lace here, maybe antique, I'm not sure on this one, but there is a little place to tuck small little things. And yes, crinkly pages, lots of crinkly pages. And then this sweet little girl here, and she is, I have to get that off of there. She's got little buttons added where the buttons are on her jacket, just for little embellishment, holding her dolly. I just love her coat and hat. And then that takes us to the back of the book, where we have another pocket with antique lace and another decoupage journaling card that's avocado dyed. And that's our book. And I do hope you love it as much as I love it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to this camera, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look and see how this video came out and see how many more times I have to try this. Thanks for looking, and thanks for being patient.